Sir, in connection with the illegal structures of Anjuna, you have filed some application. What is the application all about and what happened today before the High Court?
Yes, we have filed an application for modification of the order passed by the Honorable High Court in respect of our structure, which we claim is entirely a temporary structure. And being a temporary structure, we don't really require the permissions as stated in the earlier order of the Honorable High Court. Therefore, we are asking for modification. The earlier order says that you need to have permission from the town and country planning under the building regulations, as also you require to have a license under section 66 of the Panchayat Raj Act. Now, our case is that these two provisions which are being quoted in the earlier order are in respect of structures which are permanent in nature and will not apply to temporary structures. And assume for a minute that you do require some permission under the Panchayat Raj Act, which is under section 66. I say that I qualify or fall within the meaning of the term hut. The shacks are like huts, and hut has got a separate procedure provided under the Panchayat Raj Act. The procedure is to move under section 100 and not under section 66. So this aspect of section 100 was never considered by the court in the earlier order, probably because it was never argued before the court. The court will consider only when those arguments are placed before the court. So to that extent, the court will have to now apply its mind on this section. One is, as far as our argument is concerned, whether we qualify to build to a permanent structure or not, or is it a temporary structure. Our case is, if it is a permanent structure, it can be called a building. If it is not, then it is not a building. And the difference between temporary and permanent is based on the frame of the structure. See, the structures all over can be of two kinds, and this is recognized by the technical code also, that is Indian Building Code, that a building could be constructed on load-bearing structures, which are the columns and beams, or the load could be on the partitions, that is the wall. Now, in the case of a shack, there is normally no wall at all. So if you just put up a frame which is not of concrete, then it will qualify to be a temporary structure. Accordingly, it won't be a building, and accordingly at the highest, it may qualify to be a hut, and therefore we don't require permission. So now the Honorable Court was patient enough to hear through all these arguments and has placed it for orders. The date is not very clear as to when the order will be passed. If the order is granted in our favor, then the sealing of my structure based on this argument may be held back. Otherwise, the earlier order will prevail.
Sir, are you aware that some persons have approached Supreme Court and...
Yes, about 20 persons had approached the Supreme Court they moved an application before the Honorable Supreme Court on Monday, they had it mentioned. Well, we had filed our application on Friday or Saturday for modification. The Honorable Supreme Court, after hearing the matter on Monday, thought it fit that it should direct the petitioners or the appellants before the Supreme Court, which are I think some 20 in number, to approach the High Court for a modification. So it's like they have travelled to Delhi all the way and they are back to square one. So now I don't know when they will be presenting it. So they should be presenting it, I'm sure, because the Supreme Court has given them a leeway to do so.
Was that those applications have been rejected or disposed?
No, disposed of. The word used on the Supreme Court site is disposed. I haven't seen my order itself, the entire order, but the arguments were heard and the order was being dictated. So I did have an occasion to look into it or listen to it when it was going on. But as you know, the signals are not always good. So you may lose a phrase here or miss a statement there, and I therefore didn't want to make a categorical statement. But sum and substance is, the people who had approached the Supreme Court has been told to go to the High Court with the application for modification.
Thank you, sir.